Hello and welcome to the Coach Me Vancouver podcast. My name is Nadine Stiller and we're recording live from downtown Vancouver. We are the one-stop community space for you to meet and book your local coaches who will help you thrive and take your life, career, or company to the next level. Our guest today is life and success coach Dana Smith. Dana is an authority on engaged living who helps others see the wonder in the world, find their inner spark, know their potential, and live in fulfillment. As a registered massage therapist, yoga practitioner, and active lifestyle enthusiast, Dana has worked extensively with the body and has developed a comprehensive understanding of the mind-body connection. This appreciation, her natural curiosity, playfulness and appetite for learning, along with a formal co-active coach training, are the foundation of Dana's coaching. Through a dynamic collaborative process, her coaching sessions focus on discovering one's deepest personal power and aligning one's life with it to achieve a deeply nourishing sense of fulfillment and empowerment. Clients range from those struggling to find a new normal amid health issues and transitions to thriving individuals wanting a more purposeful life. Dana creates space for everyone to be seen and heard and to come to see themselves as whole, potent, and resilient. So check out coachmevancouver.com/book to connect with Dana for a free initial coaching session. All client stories mentioned in this podcast have either been approved for use or been altered to not be identifiable. In today's podcast, we learn about resilience and the ability to bounce back after adversity. We find out why it's important to listen to your body and mind and why your personal beliefs and lack of self-compassion may hold you back. We also discover how Dana's unique health background helps her serve her coaching clients in a more holistic approach. Welcome, Dana Smith.
Thank you, Nadine. It's such a delight to be here.
Same. Thank you for coming along and for being part of Coach Me Vancouver. For those of you who don't know you yet, you're a life and success coach interested in the concept of personal resilience, a topic that's really close to my heart too. But why don't you start off and introduce yourself a bit more and let us know how you got into coaching in the first place?
Yeah, sure. I kind of stumbled upon coaching. Many of us did. It's kind of like a stratified career I've developed over the years. Mm-hmm. I started off as an art maker and performer in British Columbia here. Mm-hmm. And I shifted on into healthcare by studying massage therapy and then eventually starting and running my practice here in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And through that process, I started to develop a desire to help people at more than just the physical level. I noticed that there's themes with people's holding in their bodies and holding that was happening in their lives as well. Mm-hmm. Somebody pointed out along the way and said, Dana, you have natural skills in coaching. And I'm like, what's coaching? Mm-hmm. I don't even know what that is.
Yes. That's always the question. Is it that or is it that? What's coaching?
Yeah, what is that? Mm-hmm. So I followed that little trail of breadcrumbs and it led me to CTI, Coach Training Institute, which resonated really well with the way that I operate. Mm-hmm. There's lots of room for intuition and play and curiosity. It's not a prescribed path forward, but really led by the client. Mm-hmm. And I really loved that, to be able to enter that exploratory, playful space with the client, mm-hmm. And really unpack some of the deeper levels of, what's holding people back or stopping them from moving forward or et cetera.
Mm-hmm. So you're taking a very holistic view when
Absolutely.
You're coaching itself is a very holistic mm-hmm. Approach already, but then with your other backgrounds, that is taking it to a whole new level, I guess, right?
Yeah. I think that I have kind of more of an attuned somatic approach mm-hmm. than others who maybe don't work in somatic therapies. Mm-hmm. So I do definitely lean on the body's wisdom as a beacon through the process, mm-hmm. Which can be very exciting for people who often aren't connected to their bodies, and some of the intuitive wisdom that exists just waiting for us to tap into. Mm-hmm. So
wow.
Yeah.
You go deep.
Yes.
Perfect. And what I hear from what you've just said is that you've basically been an entrepreneur yourself for a very long time.
I don't think I've had a real job ever, actually. I don't know. I know this is my real job.
So, but it's fun. So it's not your typical 9 to 5.
Yeah, no, I don't think I'm wired for that.
Okay. So going back to a word that I mentioned earlier on already was resilience. And that is actually one of the first things that we connected over to when we first met up a few weeks ago, right? What drew you to the topic of resilience, and what do you do around resilience? I'm
infinitely inspired by the capacity of the human's soul and the ability to bounce back from adversity, or the opposite of that, which may be like thriving and expressing oneself at your brightest level, and anywhere in between. And I suppose the resilience is mainly defined as the ability to bounce back. And it's all different. It's different for each of us.
Yeah, it's a very individual thing, right? And
absolutely.
we were, just before we were recording, we're actually saying that everyone has ups and downs, right? And it's a matter of building that resilience muscle and taking it to another place and kind of going through those low areas a bit faster, or with, come out stronger at the other end.
Yeah, not to rush through the discomforts too is another piece, because although the stuff we don't want to experience or be going through, is an important part of our journeys, and there's riches to be, uncovered even in those moments of discomfort or pain or distraught or whatever is happening. We have a tendency to only want to experience the good things in life. So having a coach be alongside you when you're in those moments of, darker places or don't know where the next turn will be, it can really help you maintain hope as you move forward.
It's so important to have hope and to have that light at the end of the tunnel, right? There is something there, and let's see how we get there, right? Absolutely. And if someone takes you by the hand or believes in you, that you can go down that path, and it's okay to not be okay right now, but
Yeah, I love that expression, actually, Nadine, so much. It's okay to not be okay. There's so much strength in that just so much acceptance. And when we get to a place of real self-compassion and acceptance about who we are, where we are right now, and it'll emerge where we're going. Yeah. We don't have to know where we're going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And self-compassion is so important too in that entire thing, right? There's always I should be doing this, or I should be feeling this way, or shouldn't be feeling this way, right? And always that expectation, and or we're giving all these this advice out to other people, but the way we're talking to ourselves, when no one else is listening but ourselves.
Oh my gosh. Things that I don't know what it's like for other people, but the things that I say to myself, I would never say to somebody else. I'm my worst inner critic. And that also is a lot of work that we do in the coaching sphere as well, is, unpacking what is my inner voice, my true self expression, what are the voices coming from within, and what are beliefs that have kind of been put on me over lifetime, or my worldviews. Did I actually choose those, or is it something that was just adopted from how I was raised, or the communities I am participating in, etc.
Yeah, and that can be very debilitating as well if you don't question that, and you're not listening to your true voice and acting on it. So I believe that coaching plays a huge part in kind of even taking that load off your shoulders, right? And just be freer and more authentic in your own being.
And a lot of people who come to coaching are wanting more, or wanting to feel less overwhelmed. And a great way that we start with often is starting to divide kind of the chatter that's happening in the mind, and make sense of, what's my truth, and what is stuff that I've heard from media or other sources that are coming in, familial histories or other things. And when you can start to segregate, it's like separate and segregate at the same time.
You just made up a new word.
Then you can really choose how you want to be in this life and in your in your own expression of yourself. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So is there, like from your experience that you've had so far, is there something that you feel you could like pass on some wisdom around this, something that they can take on their journey with them for the day or the week that they're listening to it?
Well, I like to, how about this? How about tuning into your body? There's such wisdom that our bodies are always trying to communicate with us. And I don't mean wisdom in a woo-woo way, but even like wisdom in a way of like our nervous system is, part of our, it starts as our brain, and we have our spinal cord that goes down, and off the spinal cord shoot these nerves, and these nerves go out to the periphery of our body for two reasons. One is to perceive the world around us, and the other is to create affect in the world. So depending on which direction the signal is traveling. So we have this ability to feel and sense the world through all of our sensory organs as well, our eyes, our nose, our mouths, our hearing, and then our intuition as well. So we're receiving all these different forms of information from the world that goes into our body and makes an impact. And then it travels on up to the brain and is perceived by our brains. So there's all this information that we kind of lose touch with because we're busy in the thoughts of our mind. It's like, oh, well, my aunt said that, I have to behave this way because this is how our family does it, or something else. But so that's an example of like a mind state where it's a belief or a thought. But if we can kind of let that settle and that chatter settle, and tune into just simple information from our body, like, oh, my low back is aching right now. I wonder what my low back wants me to know. And just allow some space around that. And you might be surprised at what comes up when you're able to answer that.
Okay. Wow. That is it's very interesting to see how, and I've never really perceived it that way, that, all this information is going in, not just through our eyes and ears, but, basically our whole body takes in information, right? And then where does it go? What does it show up as, Yes. It's like once it's, you mull over it a little bit in your head, or maybe again and again, what does it show up as? And
that's
what
where
does it
we
look
have,
like?
That's where we have the choice, because from that information, then we can make a choice about how we move forward. And okay, well, given that I know this now, I choose to do this or behave in this way or act in this way or speak in this way. And it really begins to cultivate our experience in the world and leads us ultimately to the life that we want to live.
Yeah, exactly. It's a conscious choice. Sometimes there's always a choice, but sometimes that is on how you react to things, how they're going on, right? But sometimes that is more like a reaction.
Yeah.
An immediate reaction that may have, developed over.
Absolutely. I think most of us want to develop, more into responsiveness as opposed to reactivity. But it's a darn good thing that we have the ability to just react. I don't want to get hit by a bus, for instance.
No. That's true. That's very true. Okay. So looking at the part of resilience again, is there one or two, maybe even three questions that you can give the listeners on the way, and or just like pass on and say, hey, this is a little 1 minute coaching session for everyone listening in. Get pen and paper, literally go and get some pen and paper.
Off you go, listeners.
Yes.
Collect your materials.
Yes. What's your 1 minute coaching?
Well, I challenge you to each take a breath, settle into your bodies. And from that place of stillness, explore the question of like, what does your body want you to know right now? And what will you say no to? And lastly, who are you becoming?
Perfect. They're great coaching questions.
Pretty juicy, aren't they?
Yeah. And they need a bit of, a lot of reflection, I guess, for most people, but we'll be surprised. So, if you're listening to this and, you can reach out to us on social media or...
Oh, it would be so fun to hear what people's responses are. Oh my
wouldn't
goodness.
it? Yes. So please share, people, what that made you do or, reflect on or realize. That would be brilliant. So with all the years worth of experience in coaching, is there a particular moment that stood out over the years that you're really proud of, or that that made you learn something, or was like, oh, what's happened? Wow.
Oh, coaching's so precious. Being in this relationship is such an honor and a delight to walk beside people in this really carefully curated coaching bubble that we create. It's become such a powerful place. So generally speaking, it's this designed alliance that is such a delight to be in. One thing doesn't necessarily pop to mind for me, but this experience, re-experiencing this experience with people who are going through transformation or realization. Oh my gosh, it's just the greatest delight to be a part of. And it's such an honor to be invited into that space with people. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. And you're there with them, along the way, and see, where you're starting off, and
yes.
I like cheering them on.
Oh, there's no relationship like this type of relationship. It's really, really unique. And it's amazing how close we become as we're working together too, but there's no other place for it. So it's a really interesting space to be in, like I said.
Perfect.
I did have a pretty profound experience with a client recently that I could share. Would that be fun?
Yeah, okay. Go for it.
So it was a little while back, and I was distracted by a sensation I was having in my body when we were amidst the coaching. My client was talking, part of a story, and just telling me about something and how she's feeling about it. And I was just like, I'm sorry, I just need to interrupt you here. I'm just completely distracted by this feeling I'm getting in my throat. I feel a sense of dryness and scratchiness. And I was my throat was literally getting a little bit scratchy, and it felt tight. And I'm like, what comes up for you when I say that? And she looked a little blank at first. She wasn't quite sure what to do with that question. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just putting it out there. If it doesn't resonate with you, let it go. But I'm just wondering what's up with your throat? 'Cause I'm feeling mine. And we headed into this really rich conversation about self-expression. And we got to a place of incredible resonance for her that she hadn't really explored yet. And we hit the nail on the head as far as a direction to take. And she was very, very inspired by the end of the session to explore more about what her own personal expression is, where she's been stifled, what it feels like to not be able to express herself, what it feels like to express herself. And she went off with this whole new terrain to explore, based on an intuitive hit that I went on a limb to just say, I don't know if this is going to land, but so there's a combination of intuition and somatic information, that I often act on within the sessions. And this was an instance where it really did land with the client, and we ran with it.
Wow. That's a really inspiring story. And I got a few goosebumps. It's when you're told, what's the outcome at the end, right?
Yeah.
And it's a very unique relationship where you need to have that trust with someone, right? To actually go there. And that's on both sides. You said, hey, this is happening for you in your body, and this is, you fed it back. And then the other way around too, for the other person to really listen to herself, what's her inner self saying, and then take it further. Wow. And act on it. It's not just something that you say inside the four walls, but you go that step further and transform. Wow.
It's amazing. It's amazing. My clients are incredible humans.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay, so talking about clients, would you come and seek you out?
I love working with women, Nadine. Women who are really ready to make impact in this life, ready to show up wholeheartedly in all the important roles that they play, So far, that's shown up as entrepreneurs, professionals, scholars and academics, artists and creators, transitions. That's another big realm that's fantastic for coaching as well. So people who are, particularly women, I keep saying people because I want to be inclusive, but in my experience, it's mostly been women that I've worked with. People who are navigating transition, either they can feel that a transition is coming and they're not quite sure how to go about that, or they're amidst transition or recovering from a major transition. So sometimes transition can be a little scary. Most of the time it's scary. So having somebody to be alongside you while navigating the turbulence of transition, it can be really a powerful alliance to build.
Okay, perfect. And you said something around spirituality too.
Yeah. It's wonderful to work with people who aren't afraid of working in that way, because I operate from a spiritual place. So certainly not pushing any denomination on any of my clients. It's always very client-based. They are at the wheel, and they can design me to be the coach that they need me to be. But that is a lens that I do wear, is being open to greater powers that exist in the world and the universe, etc.
Perfect. And you can go there, but you don't have to, right?
Exactly.
So it's you're flexible in that way. And you neatly answered my next question already, which is like, what's your coaching style and approach?
Yeah, I think spiritual, holistic. We also touched on that as well. Very, obviously very client-based. I have no agenda for my clients other than to cheer them on and believe in them wholeheartedly, that whatever they're going to do is going to be freaking amazing.
Wow.
So that's my agenda, if there is one.
Yeah, and it also sounds that this is the one that you love most about your job, right?
Yeah.
It's like being there along the transition. Anyone who enters into a coaching relationship, there will always be some sort of transition happening, right? You start off at one place and you come out changed.
It's true. It's
transformed.
True. Yeah, I actually recently made a realization about that, that I realized, I'm like, wait a minute, Dana, you are agreeing to always be in this space with people. By being a coach with people, you are signing up to be in the realm of ambiguity. And I was like, oh, okay. And it brought me some comfort knowing that all of my clients are going to be going through uncertainty, discomfort, growth, and change and transformation through the coaching alliance. And for some reason, just that realization made me feel more comfortable that I realized where I was. I was like, good. Oh, we're here now.
Yes. And you have that growth in there, right? There for yourself too, right?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. What do you love about it? Perfect. There's a question that I sent out to you earlier to prep, because I wouldn't possibly know what to answer on the, just like ad hoc. But what's your favorite book or quote, and why? Not why, but what does it mean to you?
I'm reading several books at once, as usual. That's how I roll. But I suppose the one that is most relevant to our conversation today is entitled The How of Happiness by Dr. Sonya Lyubomirski. The How of Happiness is brilliant and fun and light and completely individualized. So it's partly book and theory, but mostly it's about practice. So Sonya has these assessments that you can do throughout the book where you assess your happiest set point, which is, there's predetermining factors like your genetics and other things. What I love about this book is that it's more about resilience than happiness, and learning how to flex the tools that she describes in this book, and learn how to get good at using them. So flex them like muscles, and really figure out the ways that make you feel resilient, strong, or happy, and use them strategically throughout your life. And it's brilliant because it's not saying, oh, we should all do, acts of kindness and that's good for everybody, or writing gratitudes or what have you, because that doesn't resonate with everybody. So this brilliant work helps you determine which are your top 3 to use, and then sets you off with some ideas on how to practice that in everyday life. The quizzes, mind you, require some entry-level algebra. It took me several rounds to figure it out. I'm like, oh, so clearly I'm not a math person, but just heads up there. It's not like a cosmopolitan quiz.
Okay.
It does require a little bit more engagement.
Okay. There's there's something out there for everyone. And I know there's people out there who love algebra and who will be like, wow, I need to have that one.
Yeah, no, see, this is a testament. I'm allergic to math, and I managed to get through this assessment grading. That's how committed I was. I really believe in this work.
Great. I love that it's a very practical approach to it. And you're not just reading something up, but by the end of that book, you'll actually have something right there, something that you learned and you can use in your life right away.
Oh, and I love that it's customizable. Like your assessment's going to come out different than mine. There may be some overlap, but our motivations are going to be different. It's very powerful. And the other biggest takeaway for me is how much of my perspective dictates my outcomes. So where I place my mind and the way that I am in the world dictates my level of happiness. And there's science backing that. So it's not just like woo-woo. It's like she's broken it down through research and determined that, yeah, actually, we're actually in control of a lot more than we think we are.
Wow.
It's very powerful.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. I'll put the title and the author's name in the show notes, and then everyone can read up and find their own path of happiness through that. And then reach out to Dana for a coaching session to talk it through.
Sounds great.
Have that book club discussion with you in session number 1.
Love it.
Perfect. Thank you. We have a bit of a fun part, which we decided to call Questions in a Bag. It's not just any bag. It's a tiny fancy gift bag.
Yes.
There's loads of different colored paper tags inside, and there's questions on them. And the questions range from coaching questions to random questions to would you rather questions, and some of them are fun and quirky.
Oh man, we'll see where this goes.
Yes. So I'd like you to grab 3.
3.
You can obviously see what's on it while you pull that out. 1, 2,
and 3.
Okay.
Set.
You can read them out one at a time.
Do you want me to read them and answer them?
And answer them, yeah.
Okay. The first question is, what is important to me? Oh my gosh. Well, actually, it says, what is important to you? So many things are important to me. I would say that some of my key values would be connection and connectivity, either to myself, to the world, to the relationships that I'm involved in. Health is really important to me. Laughing is really important to me. Movement is also really important. Good food.
I hear you.
Generosity. Growth and learning. Yeah.
Lots of good
There's so many things.
Yes.
Should I keep going?
Perfect. No, that's a lot of good things. So these are reflective in your personal values?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say I walk pretty strongly and firmly within those realms.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
All right, ready for number 2?
Yes.
What's on my mind? Oh my gosh.
You got all the
time. So many things on my mind. What's not on my mind? What's on my mind big time is actually developing my own personal resilience. And I do find myself on the other side of this with a little bit more of perspective. Okay, well, like what the heck just happened? Like there was all these things that happened in every realm of my life. And I really did have to dig deep in order to get through this period of time. So at this point, I'm taking a look back at what worked? Like, how did I get here? Like, I'm at that point now where I'm feeling better. I'm feeling stronger. I'm feeling more like myself. Like, my buffer is thicker and more protective. And I'm taking a look at the pieces that have led me to this and the things that detract or add to this level of resilience that I have. So I'm thinking a lot about, like, how do I make myself feel well? How do I make myself feel really strong and vital again? And I'm trying to practice those things.
Okay, perfect. So you're listening to yourself a lot, to your inner voice.
Trying.
You're listening to your own body. One of the questions I put towards the listeners earlier.
Yes,
okay.
I'm no master. I'm practicing too.
Great. Perfect. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Piece of information. Okay, question number 3.
Another amazing one. What is your dream?
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. One dream? I have many dreams. What is my dream? I have a hard time articulating this because it's a very visceral feeling for me. Like my dream is a feeling where there's like a lot of ease and connectedness with people around me. There's a lot of sharing and a lot of reciprocity. My dream involves a lot of people and a lot of creation. It involves a lot of transformation and growth. So basically, what I've described about coaching.
Sounds very intriguing too. Yeah. I've never heard anyone describe their dream as a feeling, but it does make sense. You know, got me thinking now too. It's like, how do you want to feel? Where are you going with this, right?
Yeah, I find when I get into the nuts and bolts of like, well, what do you want to do? What are your goals? I shrivel up inside and I can't get there. Like, I don't even know where to start with that. But if I take myself to the place of, well, what feels good? What feels right? What energizes me? What makes me feel good? Like I want more. What am I longing for? What do I crave? What do I fantasize about? That's where I'm going, right? Like that to me is my truth and what needs to be is trying to emerge from me. So I don't know exactly what that is yet.
I was about to say, it comes deep from within, right? It's like deeply connected. And that's when you actually just said, what tries to emerge. So we had the same, we're connected in that sense too.
Yeah.
Perfect. We've been through all the questions and everything. So, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me today and
thank you, Nadine.
Sharing everything.
Such a delight to be here. You're delightful, and this has been a really lovely, lovely conversation.
Perfect. I agree. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Head over to coachmevancouver.com/book to book an initial free coaching session with Dana and find out how she can help you through times of struggle so you lead a more fulfilled, purposeful and empowered life. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay curious.